Ilhan Omar thought this hearing would be another easy win. Democrats brought in an immigration lawyer, expecting a full-blown attack on E-Verify. The usual fear talk about surveillance, national databases, and civil liberties. But instead, the testimony flipped the script and exposed something Democrats don't want to admit. The real problem isn't enforcing immigration law. It's the federal government's broken, sloppy databases. Before we get into it, like the video, subscribe to 50 Patriots. Grab a seat, settle in, and let's dive right into
to block enforcement altogether. If you're fed up with the spin and want the facts without filters, subscribe. This channel delivers uncensored headlines, and we don't let anyone rewrite reality.
Ms. Han, thank you so much for joining us today. In your written testimony, you outlined several reasons why the E-Verify does not work the way that committee Republicans claim it does. Could you walk us through the most significant problems with E-Verify's effectiveness? And what do you know about the system's error rates and the number of work-authorized people who are wrongfully flagged or rejected from employment each year?
Yes, thank you for the question. So, mandating E-Verify nationwide would be a mistake because the system is not ready for the millions of small businesses that are not currently enrolled. Part of what we know about who is enrolled, that 13% of employers who are enrolled, is that they tend to be much larger employers. So they tend to have HR departments and more infrastructure and capability to handle compliance requirements, unlike the smaller businesses that by and large are not enrolled and do not have that type of in-house assistance to handle the burdens. So that means that they need to do things like technology upgrades and staff trainings, and they'll be facing different types of operational challenges in order to get to a point of compliance. And on a nationwide level, people who have researched that have estimated that it would cost those employers collectively billions of dollars to do that, to reach that. Even for businesses that do comply, those companies, as we have discussed, already face raids and audits. It doesn't stop that from happening. Despite championing the system, the administration is unable to kind of give employers any real protection against the unreliability of the data. So what we don't have good current data on the reliability of the system. And I think one thing that the committee could focus on is getting a more current study on the error rates, because the last time an independent external evaluation was conducted was in 2009. That's a very long time ago. But if you take the error rates that they found at that time and you apply them to our current employment numbers, our national folks participating in the workforce, in the labor force, we think that anywhere between roughly 200,000 and 520,000 people each year who are work authorized and have been hired and accepted an offer of employment would be wrongfully denied because of the errors in E-Verify the opportunity to start that job. And I know that proponents of the system will talk about, it's got a 97, 98% effective rate. The fact is that in your jurisdiction, if you have people coming to you because you were denied the ability to start a job that you had been offered and you have work authorization, that is still not going to be an acceptable number of 97%.
Ms. Han, do you think the federal government should create this kind of national database for workers? And why does this idea give you a pause?
Yeah, so I think in order for E-Verify to function properly, it would require a massive consolidation of data that does not currently exist, right? We would need state agencies and federal agencies We would need the photo databases, and then in addition, what we haven't even talked about yet is the flaws in the SSA database and how those affect people in this system as well, right? The Numident database, which is the name of the database at SSA, has errors in roughly 17.8 million of its records, and including things like outdated citizenship status for foreign-born workers and lawful immigrants. And so this is the reason why there's a higher error rate and disproportionate harm to people who are naturalized citizens or who are work-authorized immigrants. And so in order to correct all of those things, you would have to consolidate across federal and state systems a massive amount of personal data, and then it would need to be continuously updated, and you would have to link the identity information across the country. And that process is not only impractical, but it would effectively create a centralized national ID infrastructure that tracks every worker in America. And that raises some serious privacy concerns. And beyond the risk of hacking, I think it also would expand it would enable the government to conduct surveillance far beyond employment verification, eroding civil liberties and creating a tool to monitor individuals in a way that it was never intended.
Thank you.
Thank
The hearing
you.
starts exactly how you'd expect. Democrats asked a witness to explain why E-Verify supposedly doesn't work. And yes, the lawyer talks about error rates, outdated data, and the burden on small businesses. She points out that only about 13% of employers currently use E-Verify, mostly large corporations with HR departments. For smaller businesses, nationwide enforcement would mean new costs, training, and compliance headaches. But here's where the narrative starts to crack. The witness never says verifying work eligibility is immoral. She never says immigration law shouldn't be enforced. And she never says E-Verify itself is wrong. What she actually says is something Democrats hate hearing out loud. The federal government's data systems are outdated and unreliable. She admits the Social Security Administration's own database has roughly 17.8 million errors, including incorrect citizenship status for lawful immigrants and naturalized citizens. That's a government failure, not an enforcement failure. Those errors are what cause lawful workers to be flagged incorrectly. And when asked about error rates, she points out the last independent evaluation happened back in 2009. Democrats love quoting high accuracy numbers, but even a so-called 97% success rate still means hundreds of thousands of legal workers could be wrongly denied jobs every year. That's not acceptable, and Republicans aren't arguing that it is. Then comes a big scare tactic. Democrats pivot to privacy, warning that fixing E-Verify would require consolidating data and creating a national surveillance system. But listen closely. That's a hypothetical used to avoid the real solution. Clean up the databases. Maintain accurate records. Fix the bureaucracy. Instead of addressing those failures, Democrats use them as an excuse to block enforcement entirely. And who benefits when enforcement stays broken? Illegal labor. The same system that undercuts American workers and lawful immigrants alike. This hearing wasn't a warning about E-Verify. It was an accidental admission that Democrats would rather keep the system broken than allow immigration law to actually work. Once enforcement works, their talking points collapse, and Ilhan Omar knows it. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video. Subscribe to 50 Patriots. Share this with friends who follow political hearings. And see you in the next one.